Wow, everybody, we finally have sun. Does anyone know what that wonderful bird is? Is it a red-winged blackbird? Something like that. It's just amazing. And, I got a comment and then I went back and looked for it and couldn't find it. Everybody, thank you for your fabulous comments, by the way. And I do believe that the name of the trailer park was Sherwood Forest, for any who have any interest in that. And I'm just sort of standing across the little highway here, and it's always beautiful to drive by this spot, and I never stop. So there's kind of a little hayfield here, and little houses tucked away, and there's another sort of more incredible one up ahead as well. But someone had written, that they said, I've lived in Washington and I didn't know about some of these weird weird things that have been taking place. How something can go from a little office to a huge building. One little minor agency, and how does this happen? Is the Evergreen State College just churning out students they need to hire, right? What on earth is going on? So I did think I would tell you that story then, this story of how I came to know some of these obscure things, because it really didn't have to do with me very much, and it has a lot to do with a person named Doc, who was from the Amana colonies. And it's interesting. So he is Amish, and he was from a rogue Amish, family. And, it's funny when something that never made sense to you finally makes sense to you. And that is that I do recall a long time ago, this dates me, but oh well, having like a little teeny TV. We didn't watch it very much, but I do remember a few times, like in the background, game shows, and a host in a suit like Bob Barker, who knows, and saying, "You've won an Amana radar range." And then I, recall going and, driving across country as a kid, and, going through the Amana colonies in Iowa, and that they were Amish. And I think, wait a minute, Amana radar range, but the Amish, have nothing to do with refrigerators and radar ranges and all these Amana things, washers and dryers, whatever. So then this meeting Doc made me learn about the rogue Amish, who were super, super technical, and highly technical, that had broken off and gone to various parts of California at some point in time. And his father worked for Bell Labs, Bell Telephone, and did a lot of the installations of things, and that's another story in and of itself. But Doc would do a lot of going around to different government agencies here, and wow. So the river is flooded, and it's even come up to here, up to the parking lot, unless that's just sort of filled in stuff. It might just be filled in stuff, but it looks rather difficult to get to at the moment over here to this part of the river anyway. Wow. And, so I would go to these little tort offices and, file little tort claims and go around to these places. And, many of them were very teeny. And just so small they barely existed. And then, I'd go away for a few years and come back and notice an entire neighborhood was missing or a huge chunk of one. And it takes a while, No one just says, oh, a neighborhood got knocked down, a government building went up. It's sort of like things just seem different somehow and you aren't really sure how or why. And so that, that just happened from kind of going around with him to these places and, to different little pesticide hearings at Department of Ecology and, various and sundry, wetlands protection. And just, really just seeing the true awfulness of it all. And he still does a lot of work, actually. In fact, the last time I saw him was at the post office, and he was doing a lot of filings just a couple of weeks ago with the port and also with this new bill. And it was even, it was on the cover of the paper and everything about legislators not having to disclose information, not having to be part of public records, which was just, sort of this kind of height of insanity sort of thing. So going around to these places and seeing over the years, the changes, like that, in the beginning, you'd go into a building and there'd be an elevator bank and it would be marked. And now there is nothing marked. Now you go in and there's a guard there basically just to kind of bark you out and see, what the hell are you doing there? And then if there's anything you want, you wait in the lobby and they send a minion down with papers or something of that sort. And, that's what the Attorney General's office is like, and really all of these places. So it's been interesting to see the the evolution of the state, right? I think someone has written to me that it's called the fifth column. The fifth column entering into place, this faceless, Kafkaesque, the castle, right? That sort of impenetrable, smooth, seamless, formless kind of thing. Living across the street from it hasn't even really given me the perspective that really being with Doc did. And, kind of really going inside of them, calling people on a daily basis, and they would never ever answer their phones. We finally started to get people when we would call at after closing hours. And we were learning that, sometimes somebody might be there late and, it's after closing and they think, honey just called him to say stop and get some chicken on the way home, right? They didn't realize that it would be an actual person. So, these were the kind of tricks we had to learn to get kind of anywhere, and never really did, even though there were hearings. And this was about things like, poisoned aquifers and fluoridone. And I got incredible fluoridone studies in the mail from the Department of Integrity in Washington, D.C. about how bad this stuff was, and they were just kind of dumping it here, there, and everywhere. And so that was interesting, to say the least. And so, going around, and it is hard to have time if you're working. This was a kind of strange time when I had just moved back to Olympia and, was not really working yet. I had a little volunteer job at the co-op and was just kind of living off some saved up money at the time, and really did have time to kind of go around to these places. But yes, they're able to really kind of keep a roost on everyone because of that, knowing that people are way too busy to know, what's going on in this records office or that backwater or this executive whatever. They've got their own little private garage and they just go up, and it really is like as bad as it gets. I did learn, and I learned that really from living across the street and going in those back rooms on a few occasions when people just thought I was an employee, just opened their doors, and wow, it was incredible to see just how much non anything was taking place and how much we pay for it. So it was just kind of an interesting time and an interesting person to meet who, and then we just started to kind of beat the doors together. And, the more we looked, the more we saw, the less that there was anything real going on. That looks like a little beaver dam over there. Wow, thank you everyone. We didn't get to the river, but we got to the little road marsh on the other side. Thank you ever so much. Wonderful everyone. Take good care. Bye.